No one would have believed, in the last years of the 19th century, that human affairs were being watched from the timeless world of space. No one could have dreamed we were being scrutinized as someone with a microscope studies creatures that swarm and multiply in a drop of water. Few men even considered the possibility of life on other planets. And yet, across the gulf of space, minds immeasurably superior to ours regarded this Earth with envious eyes. And slowly, and surely, they drew their plans against us. Welcome to the Sunday Movie Marathon.
You should have saved that for the Alien podcast that we will eventually do. That was War of the Worlds, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, thought so.
Love that. Jeff Wayne.
In the actual War of the Worlds remake with Tom Cruise, is it Morgan Freeman that's narrating the beginning?
Yeah, it is.
Fair enough. I remember that movie correctly then. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
Welcome back, me. How are you doing?
Yeah, how you doing? How's that all going? Now we brought you back from the dead.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm only back for the day with the power of the Ouija boards, and then I'll be back next week, hopefully. But yeah, it's alright. I enjoyed the episode, listening back to it, that I wasn't on.
Well, we went on 2 hours.
Yeah, I will say, either no one likes talking to me, or you guys just have more interesting things to say when I'm not around, because it was like 2 hours and 10 minutes or something.
Half of that was just talking about Birdman, though.
Yeah, I got 45 minutes in, I was like, I can't believe I'm still listening to them talk about fucking Birdman.
It's a lot to talk about. It's a complex film.
Yeah, it does seem it, to be fair. Is that with... It's not Michael Keaton, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah, I think with that, it's just like the topic was. We changed the topic up, of course.
Yeah.
So we're doing this now, and that's just how it's going to be. So I guess we just got more out of it.
That is true. So this is the second episode in the quarantine recommendations is what we'll call it. Where rather than just recommending movie marathons to watch, we're just recommending individual movies that we might not happen to pass by on the Sunday Movie Marathon podcasts.
Indeed.
So this week there is no theme. It was just literally choose whichever film you wanted to choose. So yeah, what films do we go for, boys?
Should we start with Chris's?
Yeah, sure.
Should we name what 3 films we chose first?
Yeah, we picked.
Can do.
There was Blue Ruin, there was In Bruges, and then there was Everest.
Do you know what I will say before anyone starts talking about this movie? This was probably, other than the Cornetto trilogy for obvious reasons, this is probably the most fun marathon or set of movies that has been recommended that I've enjoyed watching. None of which I'd seen before. None of these movies I'd ever seen.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was very good. In Bruges, I've got a lot to talk about because that movie was just stellar. But I guess we'll start in the typical order, which would be Chris's at first.
Yeah, so I picked the 2013 film Blue Ruin, directed by Jeremy Saulnier. I stumbled across this film like 5 or 6 years ago on Netflix and really enjoyed it, so I've wanted to rewatch it ever since and just never got round to it. He also directed a film called Green Room, which I really love, so I was excited to rewatch this film. It's a film in which it's about a guy, basically he lives out of his car, he's like incredibly depressed because his parents were murdered like 20 years prior, and the guy who murdered his parents is released, and he goes and he gets his revenge, kills this guy, and then he realizes that the family of the guy he killed is going to track his family down and kill them all, so he has to go and get his revenge and stop the family to save his own.
You know what? When you recommended this movie and I asked what it was, and you and Max said it was a guy gets revenge on his family being murdered, I instantly had like John Wick and Punisher vibes going on in my head, and I expected it to be like that type of revenge plot. But this movie was so grounded to like being very realistic and of the average person. I don't know what you guys think about that, or
Yeah.
It was definitely I did get the revenge vibes, of course. It's not... Well, I'm going to say right off the bat, I did like this movie, but I didn't really love it. I thought it was just alright.
I would have to agree, yeah.
Yeah. So I do get a lot of the revenge stuff from John Wick. There's quite a bit of violence in this. So I also get like violent movies or that deal with the themes of violence. I also get from other movies. I think this was a fun movie. It was alright, but I feel like everything that it sort of tries to get across in its themes, I could get from other better movies.
That is true. The thing that I liked most about, especially this movie compared to most other revenge plot based movies, is let's take one of the most famous 2 movies, right? Well, the famous movie John Wick, Punisher, the TV show. They are movies about these highly trained professionals that know exactly what they're doing. They're able to kill everyone and anyone at no point during the movies of the show Punisher or any of the John Wick movies did you ever feel like they were really in danger. Whereas this movie, especially, it was a normal person feeling normal emotions about his parents being killed, who it's just so realistic because the guy's not trained in any, he's got no military background, no martial arts background, no nothing. He's just a normal average guy, just lives in his car. That's average for me. Who it's just it's not glamorous. It's very nitty gritty. It's real. It just seems like something that if it were to happen to you, is something that you could see yourself doing. Whereas I can't look at John Wick and think, yeah, I can kill highly trained assassins all the time, but I could really imagine myself doing what the guy did in this film.
Yeah, that's something that I really enjoyed about it. It's a lot more stripped down than some films in its vein. Like you said, John Wick or even the Kill Bill films. They're very epic. There's huge action set pieces.
Yeah, but we're talking about
stuff,
good movies, and the Kill Bill
films.
are good movies.
This is much more stripped down, and like you said, the main character he has no experience with violence, really. He's never killed anyone or anything. And when he first kills the first guy, you do see it have a bit of a emotional effect on him, which I do like. I feel like it probably would have had a much deeper, resounding effect on him in real life. I don't think he would have gotten over it as quickly as he does. But I do like the fact that he doesn't really know what he's doing, and he constantly makes mistakes. There's a bit where he tries to shoot someone and misses, and yeah, that's something that I really enjoy about the film.
Yeah, although I think when you take a look at how the actual real time event, the film took place in, I think it was only spanned over 2 days. There was only one night scene in it, so you can kind of understand that he's just obviously gotten revenge. By killing the guy that he assumes killed his father, or that he thinks kills his father. I think it's... Pardon me. I kind of think that maybe because everything was happening so fast and he realised that they were tracking down his sister and there was more issues at hand, that maybe that did stunt the emotional impact that he could have potentially had, as if it just was the one kill and that was it. But I think where things were happening so fast, I mean, it's like grief, really, isn't it? Anything goes on in your life. If a family member passes away, but you've got so much going on in your life, you don't really have time to grieve and process the emotion fully. And I was just picturing that as what was happening, because everything in this movie was happening so fast, as to why you didn't really see it have an emotional impact on him. But when the movie quietened down, after he kills, or his mate kills Teddy, the guy's brother, and he's on the highway and he's just sitting down and he's throwing up. I think when the movie really takes its foot off the pedal and really settles down for a little bit in between the carnage, you kind of see a bit of the impact that's having on him, but not much.
Yeah, to be fair, this is quite a short film. Like, all things considered, it's only like it's 90 minutes exactly, so it doesn't really have a lot of time to get
Flesh
into
any of that stuff out. Yeah.
But I do feel like that runtime's pretty perfect for the film. If it was longer, I feel like it could have been a bit too, like, could have felt like there was a lot of fat that needed to be taken off. Even if they do have like moments where they focus on the emotion more, and that's why it's longer. I feel like how it is at the moment, where it's so brisk and to the point. I think that's what makes it so enjoyable for me.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, I get it. Yeah, if it was any longer, it would feel a bit too long. But that's probably because it's not really. I didn't feel like it was doing much more than just telling like a basic revenge story. So if it was longer and it didn't really have like much more to say, because I don't think it really did, apart from like the themes of violence and of death and killing and what that the effects that can have on a person, I feel like it was pretty much properly explained in an hour and a half. And if they did try to put it out, pad out the runtime a bit longer, I don't think it would have enough in what it's trying to say to the audience to sort of back
justify the time. Yeah. What I will say though is, just so the audience aren't a bit clueless. So the main character that gets revenge on the guy that killed his parents, the guy that he kills is not the guy that killed his parents. It was the guy's dad.
Yeah.
But he doesn't know that until after, obviously, he kills this guy. And then at that point, yeah, it just sets off a chain reaction of him having to kill the whole entire family at this point. I liked the line at the end where he said, like, because my mum loved your dad, now we all have to die. And it's again talking about that little butterfly effect thing that I just briefly spoke about in the group chat the other day. It's the decisions that very minuscule decisions at the time of making them can have such a profound effect later on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just the choice of these two people to sleep together caused like two families to break apart and then everyone to die.
Yeah, that line actually kind of reminded me a bit of a film that I really love, and I think Max does also, called Waves. And a lot of that film's like about how things that you do have a huge impact on the people around you, especially family. And I feel like that's kind of what they were getting at there with that line.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, you think about it, when he kills, what's the main guy's name?
Dwight.
Dwight, that's it. When Dwight kills the guy that he suspects of killing his dad, and he goes to his sister's house and says, like, oh yeah, I've killed him, and then realizes that he left his car there that is still registered to his sister's name, and then obviously his sister and her kids then have to move upstate out of the family home. It's again like his decision to make that call affected not only her but her children as well.
Yeah, that's sort of like the sort of a catalyst for why the film is as long as it is, because he could have killed the guy and then been done with it, I guess, but it's because he thought they were going after his sister that he had to take all these measures and try to kill the rest of them. And
yeah,
I do like that scene when he's in, like, they're at the cafe and he's just like fresh off killing, what's his name, Wade, and he's just having lunch with his sister. He says, yeah, and I killed him, and she's like pretty happy about it. But then
yeah, I was expecting her to kick off or something, but she was like, no, I'm glad. I
didn't like love Dwight as a person, as like a character. I didn't really relate to him as much as maybe you guys did, but I did like his character. Like, you're introduced to him, he's like eating, what is it? You're introduced to him at the beginning of the movie and he's in a shower or he's having a bath, and then like people come home and he has to jump out the window. I was like, oh, okay, this guy's homeless. He's like eating trash out of the rubbish bin. He's like eating burgers out of the rubbish bin, and he's living out of his car. It's quite a horrible state to find yourself in, but I do like that they set that up.
Yeah, it is a horrible state having to live in your car, Max. It's not great.
Yeah, Connor knows that firsthand.
Yeah.
But yeah, this movie was more entertaining than I thought it was going to be. I was a little bit thrown off at first because it, for all intents and purposes, is kind of a slow movie, at the beginning part especially. And
Yeah.
I think this marathon that we did this week has, for me, been like a big one on watching movies outside of what I normally would. Everest in Bruges and all this film as well, Blue Ruin, compared to what we usually watch, it is relatively slow. I mean, they do pick up towards the end in each film, respectively, in different ways. But yeah, I was highly surprised of how much I enjoyed this film, especially. It was definitely the weakest out of the three that were recommended, but I just loved. It wasn't like innovative or a fresh new take on the revenge genre, but I just really liked that it wasn't so like you've got all the I don't know. I just like the fact that it wasn't a John Wick or a Punisher trying to be something like them, where the main character is just so competent and can do anything and everything, where you're not worried. And I also like the fact that, spoiler alert, at the end he does die.
Yeah. There's like because of this chain of violence that just never ends. I was thinking about like the old Western movies. It reminded me a lot of those where like guy comes into town and it's just this chain of killing. There's a movie called Shane, and I only know this from the movie Logan because they're watching it in Logan. But there's a line that he says is called he says, "There's no living with a killing," and I thought that's really like what I see in this as well. Because
say again, sorry.
Like,
there's no
living with a killing. And I thought that's very true of this, because as soon as he kills that guy, I'm like, no, this is not going to end well for him. And like, you can't just kill a guy and then have it like end well for him. I was pretty sure he was going to die, or something terrible was going to happen to him.
I liked the even though they weren't on screen together for a long period of time, I really liked the relationship between Dwight and his old friend Ben. Like an old war vet that now works at a bar, goes to see him for like to get some guns and stuff to sort of fight back. Ben ends up saving him by killing like Wade's brother, which again is the guy that he thought killed his dad. And I kind of I really enjoyed their relationship, as minuscule as it was in terms of like the runtime and how much they were on screen together. I did really like get that they had a friendship in the past. And I don't know, yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, for me, I felt like that was a bit where the film got a little bit too slow for me, but not to the point where it like completely ruined it. Like I still like enjoyed what was going on. I just felt like it kind of did bring like what was going on to a bit of a halt in some ways. I remember the first time I watched it, I really didn't like that section. I definitely liked it a lot more the second time. But yeah, that was just kind of how I felt.
Yeah. I was sort of I was along with it for a bit, and I think as soon as they have like that shootout at the sister's house, and then he captures the guy, like as soon as that happened, I sort of fell off. So I was just like, all right, and then we just watch him like drive around, and like he's locked in the boot, but he's still alive, and he's trying to get this arrow out of his leg, and he's like, I love that scene where he's like trying to get it out. He like buys all this disinfectant and like pliers from the store. He tries to get it out of his leg from inside his car, and he's just like, oh fuck this. He just goes to the hospital.
Do you know what though? The only part of this film that I really didn't believe is how has a homeless guy got medical care? Because that surgery would have cost thousands of dollars in America. There's no way you would have been able to get that done.
Yeah, I did think about that, but he just ran away. So
I think he was homeless by choice, though. I think he does have money. I think he must have got money from when his parents died, but
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, fair enough. That could be true, but you know, you're homeless. If he can't afford food, then he probably can't afford Medicare.
He's just living it rough, you know, roughing it out in the wild. Yeah. I did like the scene where like he's asleep in his car, and then the policewoman knocks on his window. She calls him into the station. She reveals that this guy has been released. And you could see, like, this is really good acting from him. You could just see his body, like, shake very slightly. He was very upset by that, and I could tell. So I did like his performance. It kind of reminded me of, like, what did I say? He looked like Boyle from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I was like, this guy's on a rampage. I can't believe Boyle's doing this. But I did like him as an actor. I thought he played the role well. I just didn't really relate to the character all that much.
He was very strange.
And we talk about how he's not trained at all. He's very slapdash and sloppy, and he is. But at the same time, he's killing all these people. He's not really getting in like much harm. He gets an arrow through his leg, but that's about it. And like I feel like if I was in that position with like a guy with a crossbow and like another guy with a gun, I'd be dead, man. There's no way I would have survived it. So I don't know how
you haven't got the will to fight, Max. That's why.
Maybe that's it.
I think it's different though if you're in the situation. It's the whole fight or flight thing, really, though, isn't it? Like you'll never truly know until it happens.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, so Dwight's played by an actor called Macon Blair. I really like him in this film. I've liked him in pretty much everything I've seen him in. But yeah, I think he's great in this film.
What else has he done?
It's like a lot of like smaller films. Like he did Green Room, the director's other film. He was in a film called The Florida Project I like. Bigger films, he was in Logan Lucky and The Hunt, that film that came out this year.
Who did he play in The Hunt?
A guy called Oliver.
Oh, right. Yeah. Stuff that I've never seen. Yeah, this was my first time seeing this actor in a film then.
I'm pretty sure he was a director as well. I think he's directed a few movies.
Yeah, he directed one film called I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore, which I haven't seen.
I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen that. It's fine. It's not great. It's all right.
He's also writing and directing a reboot of The Toxic Avenger, which is the weirdest 80s horror film.
I have heard about that.
I mean,
I do want to see that.
The weirdest 80s horror film would be Brain Dead.
That was from the 90s.
Well, it's still fucking weird then, isn't it?
Yeah.
To be fair, I just took a guess there. I didn't know which era it was made in. It just looks really shit, so I was assuming it's definitely past like 90s or before.
Have we got anything else to say about Blue Ruin? I didn't make any notes, so I'm just kind of going off what you guys are saying.
I've got like a few things to say about like the technical qualities. I thought this movie looked really nice. I loved the use of blue in it. I was like, there's a lot of blue in this from like the start, and I was like, oh, it just they keep putting like blue things in the shot, or like there'd be like a faint blue hue to it. So I really liked that sort of tied into the title, even though I didn't really get what Blue Ruin really meant.
Yeah, he did that also in Green Room. A lot of that film's just very green.
Yeah, I think that there have been movies that we've seen, or that I've seen as well, where using that effect can ruin and take you out of a scene. I mean, Piano is a big one for me. It's just such a weird film with its colours. Paranormal Ascendancy, they use blue a bit too much. And I don't mean to put them two films into the same category, Max. Piano was much better than Paranormal Ascendancy. But it's just like, yeah, this film, it was so subtle in how it used everything. And I won't lie, I didn't notice any blue tinges or any blue hues or tints they may have used, which I guess is just a testament to the fact that it's very subtle, that you don't really need to notice it.
No, yeah. I mean, like, his car was blue. He'd go through, like, a lot of scenes with, like, blue objects in the background or something. Yeah. I love when he shaves his face. I'm like, oh my god, this is not what I thought he'd look like.
No.
It's really weird.
I talking about, like, the technical aspect of it, I did like a lot of the shots that are in this film. Like, one of the ones I remember, and I don't know why, but it was just a really good shot, is when he steals the gun case from the car outside of a bar that he plans to use on killing Wade, the guy that murdered his father, or that he thinks. And he's like in the park by the seafront, and he's like hitting the gun with a crowbar to get the lock off it. And then another car pulls up beside, and it's just like it's like a wide shot. It shows the car pulling in next to his car. It just shows him like putting the gun in the bin, getting back into his car, driving off, and it's just one frame, one shot.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know why it just stuck with me, but it was just a really nice shot. I just enjoyed it.
Yeah, for sure. No, I can completely remember that shot. It's like a lot of these shots I can remember. I think it's a really well directed, photographed movie.
Yeah.
I just really had fun with like the color and the framing and the settings. There's like the part where they go into like a music venue or like they're at a concert and they literally have to shout at each other to hear what the other people are saying.
Yeah.
You don't get that a lot. You don't get that a lot in movies. I think when it's done like that, they did that in like The Social Network or one episode of the OA, and I really appreciate the directors sort of taking that extra step, because usually they just like film a crowd in a club and there's no music, they just add it in post. So to have that, I always really appreciate.
Yeah, it's just, again, I think this film was very grounded in realism, and I think that was the main catch of this film. It's like you think about, again, John Wick, when, I think it's in the first one, when he's in the club scene, and obviously they're firing their guns and shit, and you can just hear it clear as day, and it's not necessarily what would happen. But yeah, very realistic.
I love the part where he gets the guy out of the guy like comes out of the boot of his car, and then he gets shot in the head, and you hear the shot before you see it impact him. There's like a shot, and I'm like, what the hell was that? And then his head explodes. I thought like the effects on that were great. I really loved that. That kind of took me out of the movie a little bit, not by much, but it's only because I don't know whether the guy shot twice but just missed the first one and then hit him a second time, because from how close he was standing, you would not hear a shot and then it hit. It was just too close. The sound wouldn't travel that fast. As soon as you hear it, you would see it and you'd be dead. So yeah, I don't know.
I thought he missed and then shot him again. I thought that was what happened.
Right.
Yeah, that's what must have happened. But yeah, no, that was a good scene. I liked it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of blood and gore in the film as well.
There is.
Yeah, there's a fair amount. Done. It was like the perfect amount for it not to be overly used or like just be overdone. God, I love the technical aspects of naming things. Yeah, it was well done.
Yeah.
Max has got some grandiose words that he likes using. He used a load of words in the last podcast that I had to Google when you were saying them.
Right.
Mise en scène, what the fuck? I don't know what that is.
The mise en scène. It's like what you see in the frame. Yeah.
Say again, sorry, it's what?
It's like the composition of the frame. So like what you see when you look at it.
Okay.
Everything.
Fair enough, yeah. Nice. But yeah, are we ready to get to the ratings?
Yeah.
For this film?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I really liked it. I didn't like it as much the second time, but I still got a lot out of it. I really enjoyed it. I highly recommend this film, Green Room, that he did after. It's really, really good. It's like much more like horror based, super tense, very violent. But yeah, I'm going to give Blue Ruin, what's our witty thing we're going to say out of 10?
I really haven't thought of one this week. Should we go... Should we just go 10 out of 10 arrows, because it's an arrow to the knee?
Yeah, sure. I'll give it 8 out of 10 arrows.
That's a Skyrim reference, by the way, Max, if you didn't realise.
I do. I did realise. I haven't played Skyrim, but I know that reference. Everybody said it back in the day when it came out.
You didn't laugh. That's my instant gratification justification that I needed, and you didn't show it.
Funny stuff. Right. I like this movie. I thought.
do you know what? Right. Well, no, we'll change the rating. Sorry, it won't be out of arrows. We'll do it out of boils.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Boils. Yeah. I like this movie. I didn't love it. I thought it did about just enough to keep my attention, and I was quite bored throughout it. I liked a lot of the cinematography, a lot of the settings, and the acting was all right. Yeah, I probably wouldn't watch it again, to be honest. I think it was sort of just a basic revenge story, but it's fine for what it is.
Max
I'm gonna
is throwing shade at your choice, Chris.
I liked the movie. I liked it, but I just didn't get like as much out of it as I think other people have. I'm going to give this 6 boils out of 10.
That's literally what I was going to give it as well. 6 out of 10. It was. If someone said to me, "Do you want to watch Blue Ruin?" and it was the only thing that was on, I'd say yes, but I'd be on my phone a lot of the time if we were watching it. But as a first time watch, and then again, I'm not a person that likes slow movies, but this was a good one. So yeah, I'd probably give it a 6.5 actually. Like leaning more towards the better side of the 10. 6.5 boils out of 10.
Sure. So we watched another movie, and this recommendation was from moi. It's called In Bruges from 2008, directed by Martin McDonagh and starring Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson and also Ray Fiennes. It's about two hitmen, Colin Farrell and oh god, I forgot his name already, Brendan Gleeson, and Bruges by their boss, and sort of wait out the storm that was brought on by a hit that they did, so they're not arrested or whatever, and they got to live out
sour.
Indeed. So they just got to stay in Bruges for a bit, wait for everything to calm down, and it's sort of about what they do in Bruges, and how they find it, and the struggle with Colin Farrell's character, I would say. So, what did we think?
This was a great film.
Mate, I will say this. This is probably one of my favourite movies of the year that I've watched so far. This movie was incredible. And again, I was very surprised because the beginning of it, I found myself on my phone a little bit when obviously they're setting up and they're getting obviously to Bruges and shit like that. But yeah, as soon as I've sort of as soon as I took notice of the humor and where the film what was actually going, it started to become a lot more enjoyable for me. Literally, I put my phone down, did not go on it for the rest of the time. I was hooked on this film. The film was fucking hilarious. It was so funny, just with how sarcastic Colin Farrell's character was. When he nearly gets robbed and he shoots the guy in the face with a blank, and the guy goes, "I can't see," and he's like, "Of course you can't fucking see. I've just shot you in the eye with a blank." And then he calls. The part that made me laugh the most is when he's outside the tower, and the fat people go, "Have you been up there?" He went, "Yeah."
Yeah.
And he went, "Are you going up there?" They went, "Yeah." And he's like, "Really, you?" And they were like, "What are you trying to say?" "What do you mean, what am I trying to say? A couple fucking elephants." And then he chases him around. But yeah, not to talk for too long, but I fucking loved how Colin Farrell could go from so funny, so charismatic and witty in some of his interactions to then, the reason they're in Bruges is because Colin Farrell accidentally killed a kid on one of the hits, and it's seeing his emotional outpour that happens after that, especially when he just breaks down at a certain point during the movie after he nearly kills himself, and he's just you just really see it all pour out, and it was just so, a film rarely ever has the ability to make me feel both emotions, like happy, laughing, but then just to feel really bad for this person.
Yeah. The director and writer Martin McDonagh, who I'm a huge fan of, he's like really great at doing that. Like he's great at writing these really hilarious scenes and then contrasting with much more like darker and more emotional scenes. He did a film a few years ago called Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, and that perfectly encapsulates that. There's like moments where I'd be in tears laughing, but then there's like some genuinely really emotional and dark moments, and it takes a lot of twists and turns. And I think In Bruges kind of does that really, really well as well. It definitely leans much more into the comedy aspect, but the comedy is all really, really good. There's not a single joke in this film where I didn't laugh, and it's just accentuated by just how great Colin Farrell is and the great chemistry he has with Brendan Gleeson. Like, even though I don't think they'd been together in any other film, they just, watching them, you feel like they've known each other for ages and they're like really close friends. Their chemistry is like really great in the film.
Yeah, it is.
I liked the part, and just to go on what you were saying about the chemistry and the relationship that they have, an ambiguous part of the movie for me is when Henry, which is Brandon
Who?
Gleeson,
Brendan
the
Gleeson.
guy,
Brendan Gleeson.
that's the one. It's when Brendan's character gets a call from their boss, and it's essentially telling him that he needs to kill Colin Farrell's character.
Yeah.
So he obviously gets the gun and he goes to the park, and Colin Farrell's like sitting at the bench watching kids play in the park, just trying to get to come to terms with what he'd done. And he just walks up behind him. He goes to shoot him in the back of the head, and then obviously Colin Farrell puts a gun to his head, and he just like instantly drops his gun. He saves him, and to me, I had no idea, or have no idea, whether he would have pulled the trigger or not. But it was just such a shock to me that he like saved his life essentially, because he just could have just let him kill himself, and that would have been a loose end tied up. Easy said than done. But it did give you a brief look into like maybe they do have a past together and they are close friends.
Yeah, I like that. Sort of throughout the movie, we see glimpses of what Colin Farrell did, and his name's Ray. What Ray did, and how he's been dealing with that. I asked a lot of questions to Ken, Brendan Gleeson's character, about like if he believes in hell, if he believes in purgatory. He wonders if he's going to go to hell himself. So there's like this overarching sort of cloud above him that he really hates himself, and you get this self-loathing from him. And I love that they can inject that into a movie and have it still be so comedic and so funny. You got a lot of dark humor going on as well.
Yeah, it was. I just couldn't believe how like much this movie made me laugh, but then at the same time, just how much it made me really care and believe the pain that he was going through. For obviously what he did.
Yeah, obviously they've gone to Bruges, and Colin Farrell's character Ray, he just hates it. He doesn't like Bruges. He doesn't want to be there. He wants to go back to London. And Brendan Gleeson's Ken, he loves it there. He loves all the sights. He loves sightseeing, seeing all the old buildings and all that. And I completely get it, because this movie, while it is quite it doesn't really rely too heavily on technical aspects like cinematography. It's not too overt with it. It's not too like in your face. I thought it was just exactly what it needed to be, because it shoots. I'm not entirely sure if they shot it on location. I feel like they probably did, because they get a lot of shots in the town, and it looks amazing. All these old buildings, and there's like a part where he says, "Yeah, I bet it's even better at night," and they go out at night, and yeah, it is. It looks brilliant.
Yeah. They keep harping back to it looks like a fairy tale as well.
Yeah.
Because of just how nice it looks. But I like the fact that like the tower that they went to at the beginning of the movie was like a main stake throughout the whole film.
Yeah.
It was kind of there in the beginning, mid, and end of the film.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of subtle things like that, like things that they kind of subtly like build up early on that end up getting like seeing more screen time and get more resolved towards the end, which I think is really good. It's just a testament to how great the script is. Like Martin McDonagh is such a great writer, and everything in the film kind of reflects that.
Yeah, speaking of testament, there's obviously a lot of like religious themes, I thought, throughout the movie. They go through, like, this town is very steeped in its religious culture and history, and they go into like churches, and they're looking at like old paintings that depict like scenes from the Bible or whatever. There's like the one painting that Ray like really attaches himself to is like this painting of purgatory, and he's like there's this great quote. He says, "Purgatory is kind of like the in-betweeny one. You weren't really shit, but you weren't all that great either, like Tottenham." And I thought, like, that's like Bruges itself. I got the impression that Bruges was sort of like a purgatory in of itself, where Ray sort of spends his time, the time between life and death is sort of what Bruges is before you go to hell. And so I feel like his life essentially ended when he shot the kid, and like he can't really deal with it, he can't live with it, even tries to kill himself. So it's like this in-between place, and he fucking hates it.
Yeah, I got that as well. I I felt personally attacked in this film with the whole Jimmy the Midget when he came up.
Yeah.
That was amazing. He's like just talks about, is he a midget? They like being called dwarfs. Well, of course you would. Who wants to be called a midget?
The dwarf who does drugs and is very racist thinks there's going to be a war between white people and black people.
God. I love that. He's like, it'd be all the blacks against all the whites. But what about the black midgets against the white midgets? Well, they go against each other. Yeah. Okay, what about the Vietnamese? He's like, he doesn't even want the Vietnamese on our fucking side.
Yeah. Afterwards, he's like, it was just the Coke, man. It was just the Coke. I didn't mean it. It was just the Coke. He's like arguing about like how the black people are going to fight the white people. There's this quote that goes like, well, who are the half castes going to fight with? The blacks, man. That's obvious. Well, what about the Pakistanis? The blacks. And it's like just everything that's not white is like it's going to be fight against the blacks. And then there's like the part where Brendan Gleeson says, well, I was married to a black woman and she was killed by a white man, so who am I going to fight for in this big war? And he's like, well, I guess you got to weigh up your options, man. I'm sorry.
let your conscience decide. And it's like, you clearly didn't have an answer for that. I love that part of the film as well, where he gets up and they go to leave, and it's a callback from when they were talking earlier, and it's like, would you kill an old man or something? He's like, oh, he's like, no, he's like that. He's like, I'd kill an old man if he was coming at me. And he's like, it says something about him knowing karate. He's like, what's a fucking 50-year-old man knowing karate for?
Yeah.
And then when he's talking to the midget and he goes to leave and he goes, I know karate. He gets like a karate stance, and the midget goes to say something. He just chops his neck and walks off.
Yeah. That was a great conversation. I got a quote from it here. It's like, what's a 50-year-old lollipop man doing knowing fucking karate? What was he, a Chinese lollipop man? Oh my god,
that's an amazing scene.
Yeah, I love.
What's a 50-year-old man, lollipop man, doing knowing karate?
Yeah. Was he a Chinese lollipop man? I was like, oh my god. But that's the kind of humour we're dealing with here. It's very offensive sense of humour. But I really, I love that. I love the writing, and it's very my type of humour, I think, and ours as well. Yeah.
I was going to say it's very British humour, like very witty, well-written stuff. It's less like about slapstick or anything like that.
Yeah, we don't talk about the blacks fighting the whites. That's not us.
That's the Coke, man.
Yeah.
Coke.
But one thing that I do want to bring up quick. So it's involving this midget. So this,
I don't like to be called midgets.
When they meet,
I want to be called dwarves.
when they meet Jimmy the midget, he's like an actor, and he's on location to do a film, and at some point he has to wear a kid's uniform for a part in the film that they're recording. Now that's gonna be important for what comes later. Now the guy that wants Raymond dead, which is Colin Farrell's character, essentially wants him dead because he has a moral code that if you kill a child, you can't then live with yourself. And he says that if I ever killed a child, I'd put a gun in my mouth and blow my brains out instantly. So when Ken can't kill Raymond and just chooses to put him on a train and send him off, and then this their boss comes over, Ken ends up dying. Raymond is chased down by their boss, who then shoots Raymond 3 or 4 times. And one of the bullets goes through him and kills the midget, and it just blows his head off completely to where you can't tell if it's a grown man or a child.
Yeah.
And so their boss, I can't remember his name, but he walks over. Is it Henry?
Harry,
that's the one, yeah. So Harry, who's their boss, walks over, and he sees Jimmy the midget with his fucking face blown off, but he obviously thinks it's a kid, and he goes, well, I guess you've got to live by your own code, and he just puts the gun in his mouth and blows his own head off.
Yeah. That was a great scene.
It's a very dark ending, but it's very fitting of the film.
Well, I think everyone dies in the end.
Well, yeah, I think they do, yeah. But I love the acting in this. I think Ray Fiennes was pretty much amazing. I got a lot of sexy beast vibes from him. I think Chris is in this movie where he's sort of like Ben Kingsley's character. He's very shouty, very sweary, always wants things done by his own rules.
Especially that scene where he's like, you're an inanimate fucking object. That scene, that reminds me of Sexy Beast.
He's like smashing the phone up, yeah. It's like, it's an inanimate object, Ray. You're a fucking inanimate object.
It's great.
I like it when he's like, I'm sorry for calling you an inanimate object.
Yeah.
But Ben Kingsley, is that the guy from Iron Man 3?
Yeah.
He's see, I always hear about him being a really good actor, but I've never seen him in anything else other than Iron Man 3.
He is good. Yeah, he's in a lot of shit though, I think. So
yeah.
But I would recommend Sexy Beast.
Even in his bad films, he does a good... I don't think I've ever seen him do a bad performance. He's pretty much good in everything, even though he's in loads of shit.
Yeah.
Now, I do want to bring up one other part of this movie, which I thought was probably going to be the best foreshadowing ever, but it didn't end up happening. So, the first time that Ken goes to the top of this tower, I don't know if any of you noticed, but he looks over the tower and points a finger gun down at a random person and acts as if he's pulling a trigger.
Points it at Ray.
Say again, sorry.
He points it at Ray because he's there trying to have a good time and Ray's bringing him down.
Yeah. So he obviously does that and points it at Ray. When so the final sort of scene happens at the top of this tower between Ken and Harry ends up shooting Ken. And they're halfway down the stairs, and this guy says oh yeah, Ray's downstairs. Harry runs down to go to kill him. Ken runs up to the top of the tower, and for a second, I thought he was going to lean over, pull out his gun, and reenact what he had done at the beginning of the film, and shoot Harry, and obviously save Ken's life, save Ray's life, and that'd be the film. But it didn't happen. He just ends up throwing himself.
I think he looks in, when he looked over, he was planning on doing that, but he realised it was foggy. Very impractical to do, and it was foggy, so the only way he could save Ray was by bringing the gun down to him, which didn't work.
It didn't fucking work anyway.
Yeah, that was a brutal scene as well. I love that scene.
Oh, yeah.
With the music playing, and the Irish music playing, and then you see his body hit the floor. It's disgusting.
Well, the fact that he's still alive afterwards as well.
I think I'm going to die now.
And it's just it's just so grim. Well, I still can't get over that. What's a 50-year-old lollipop man doing known karate? there were just so many funny lines in this film that had me in stitches.
I've got so many of them, loads of them. What is it like?
Throw one out.
Right.
Throw one out.
Like what you said about like the fat people. Like he's like sitting on the bench. They come up to him and they're like, "You been up the tower?" He was like, "Yeah, you lot ain't going up there." Why? It's all windy stairs. I'm not being funny. Use a bunch of fucking elephants. And then he like he chases him around. He's like trying to fight him, but then he just runs around him and he gets tired out.
Yeah.
I just love it. And that's
He's like, stop it, fatty.
I love like that gets called back to like the next day. They try to go up the tower, and the guy says, "No, you can't go up the tower. It's closed early because somebody had a heart attack up there yesterday."
I also liked it after Raymond calls obviously them a bunch of elephants, and they walk past, and Ken comes out, and he goes, "Are they going up the tower?" And he goes, "Yeah." And he turns around and goes, "It's windy stairs up there." And they say, "Fuck off, you prick." And he's like,
"Oh, all right,
Americans."
Yeah. Obviously, there's like a love interest in this for Ray as well. He's sort of like the only thing that keeps him going while he's in Bruges is that he can go on a date with this girl. And she like takes him back to her flat or whatever in her apartment, and then her boyfriend turns up, and he's like, why are you fucking my girlfriend? He's like, "Oh, sorry, I only laid a hand on there. We didn't do anything." And there's like, he pulls out a gun. The boyfriend pulls out a gun, and he's like, "Oh, fuck you." And like Ray like takes the gun off of him, and he says, "Used to be you were a skinhead. You just went around beating up Pakistani 12-year-olds. Now it seems a prerequisite to be a fucking bum boy."
I love that because he got called a ponce or something by Harry as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
Where he's like, "You let someone take your gun off you and blind you. What are you, a fucking ponce?"
Yeah. Like calls him a gay boy, I think.
But can we just acknowledge the fact that when Raymond and his love interest are on a date, and she says to him, "What do you do?" and he goes, "I kill people for money."
Yeah, just straight
and
up.
then she says, "I sell ketamine and cocaine to midgets." Both actually do that because he finds a drug stash of cocaine and ketamine.
Yeah, very honest with each other from the get-go.
It was just so weird that they both told the truth of what they do, but it's just so obscure, and you're like, you wouldn't.
I
do
love
that.
how Martin McDonagh basically writes these characters who are terrible people, but he makes you love them so much. It's like a testament to how like great the writing is, because that's something that a lot of people struggle with, where they write a character who is like a terrible person, does terrible things, but they want them to be likable, and they end up struggling with it. I've seen it done like multiple times in films, but it's love
kind
these
of what
characters.
happened with it's kind of what they did with Jaime Lannister throughout Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
The first few seasons he was a bit of a prick, and then the later seasons he actually became a likable character.
Yeah. And they fucked it.
I was gonna say except for this film had a good ending.
I do like the ending.
Oh yeah.
The
ending.
He's been shot 4 times, and he's like just being wheeled away on the ambulance. I'm like, how the fuck is this guy still alive? And there's like
what was his closing monologue for it as well? Because he says something about dying or something, doesn't he? Have you written that down?
Well,
I haven't written it down. He said,
you have. Did you say you have written it down?
No, I haven't.
I was going to say,
but I know what he says.
How he feels like hell is basically like spending an eternity in Bruges, and like his last line was that he really hoped he wouldn't die in Bruges.
Yeah. It was like, I really hoped I wouldn't die, and not like in Bruges, but just die. So it was like he's done like a sort of 180 where he wanted to kill himself before, but now he doesn't. So I think he's done a bit of self-reflection. And there's like there's like the part where he's tried to kill himself, and then Ken sends him on the train away somewhere, and he's like, "You gotta get out of the game, man. You gotta go somewhere, make something of your life." And like then the train stops, and like a guard comes on, and he's like, "You punch that guy in the face. You punch the Canadian in the face." And he's like, "Oh, for fuck's sake, you're going back to Bruges." So he literally cannot escape Bruges, and that's where I also got like the purgatory allegory as well.
What was the security guard say to him as well, because it wasn't until he turned around and was like, oh, punch the Canadian in the face. Yeah.
You punched the Canadian in the face, did you? Yeah, fuck.
That's the wanker. Yeah, it was so funny.
I like when he punches that Canadian guy and he says, "That's for John Lennon, you Yankee fucking cunt." That's a great line.
Yeah.
I love it when he starts talking about the Vietnamese again when they're talking to the guy's like, what, how does the Vietnamese have any relevance to your girlfriend blowing smoke into our face? And he just lamps him.
Yeah.
That's for John Lennon, you Yankee cunt. Oh, I love this film. It's so good.
It was, yeah. Just so much of it is just like non-stop funny gags and just jokes and like quippy wordplay.
Yeah.
I love it.
And this is a very slow-paced film, I would say so. There's not a lot of action that actually happens, or a lot that really brings the pace up.
No.
Other than the final couple minutes, or final like 10, 15, 20 minutes even.
Yeah.
It's all very
localized.
building upon.
I wouldn't say it's slow at all. I think like the comedy and the writing and the acting is like so fast paced. Like there's like constantly throwing jokes and stuff at you. There's never really a moment where they slow down completely.
I'm talking more fast paced in terms like what fucking action films would be, where it's like literally one thing after another. This actually gives you time in between jokes and stuff to actually breathe, where you can appreciate the joke, acknowledge it, laugh in it without it being too over the top. The jokes were very well placed throughout the whole entire film. I don't think like in every scene there was a joke or a gag that was pulled, but there was enough of them throughout the film where it just kept you laughing throughout.
For sure. I love the scene where like Harry's come to Bruges and he's sitting at the restaurant outside with Ken, and Ken sort of accepted his fate, and now he can tell Harry exactly what he thinks of him. He just doesn't care anymore because he sent Ray on his way. He's like, yeah, he's like, Harry, let's get down to it. And I'm not being funny. I mean no disrespect, but you're a cunt. You're a cunt now. You've always been a cunt, and the only thing that's going to change is you're going to become even a bigger cunt. I was like, all right.
I love it when he says about his cunt kids, and he's like, you take that back. You take back calling them off kids cunt kids. And he's like, I'm sorry for calling your kids cunt kids. And then he's like, I've come here. You've insulted me. You've called me a cunt. You've called my kids cunts. And he's like, I apologise, didn't I?
Yeah. Oof. And then there's the shootout, really. The ultimate shootout between Harry and Ray, where he's trying to get away from Harry, and Harry doesn't really know the area as well as Ray does. He goes to the hotel, and the landlady's sort of in the way of them. She's like, you can't go up there, you can't, like, and she's pregnant as well, so it's like high stakes. But we know that because Harry's got a code, he's not going to kill the landlady. And there's like this great line from her. It says, "Why don't you put down your guns and go home?" And there's like this fourth wall break where Harry goes, "Don't be stupid. This is the shootout." They're sort of like negotiating, like, "All right, Harry.
Yeah.
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna jump out of the window into the canal. All right, and then you go around the back." And he's like, "Well, when I go out the back, do I turn left or right?" And he's like, it's a left, Harry.
Fucking
it's
right.
fucking right,
It's
Harry.
a canal.
Yeah, it's a canal. It's a big fucking canal, Harry. All right. It's, all right. I'm sorry. I've just got here, haven't I? I don't know the place. And then he's like, yeah.
I like it when it's that part as well where it's like, so on the count of 3, and he's like, yeah, and then it goes really quiet, and Ray goes, am I counting? And he goes, of course you're fucking counting. And he's like, if I run out to the canal, you're not going to stay in, I'm not going to come up here find you hiding in a cupboard, am I? This film is, I just recommend this to anyone that wants. If you like Colin Farrell as an actor as well, I think this is one of the best films that I've seen him in.
Yeah, I was talking with Chris about it, and I think Colin Farrell is such an underrated actor. You see him now in like these fucking shit movies with like the Fantastic Beasts movie, or like Artemis Fowl more recently. So bad. They don't like capture him at all. He's such a good actor, and I really wanted to see him in like better movies. He's in a couple of oh god damn it, what's the director's name?
Yorgos Lanthimos.
Yeah, Yorgos Lanthimos is in a couple of those movies. He's really good in there. He uses a lot of dry humour, but I think he really needs to be better utilised in movies.
Yeah,
just get more
Colin Farrell
opportunities.
is just a very good actor. Everything that I've seen, like, I love him as, like, if there is a film with him in, I will watch it because I just love him as an actor. Like, he was in an episode of Scrubs as well.
All right.
Or 2 episodes of Scrubs, and it's like one of the highlight episodes for me, just because he's so funny.
Yeah,
he's good in that episode.
Holds his own with, like, yeah, but yeah, he definitely needs to be cast in something decent. Like, yeah, because some of the movies that I've seen him in since obviously this movie being released have just been piss poor movies, but he's been like the shining light of them. Anyone have anything to end on for this?
There's that moment when they're up at the tower and Ken's like telling Harry how much he loves him because of all he's done for him. And he's like, well, I can't shoot you now, can I, you fucking idiot? But he shoots him in the leg anyway. He's like, oh, what the fuck did you do that for?
Yeah.
He's like, I can't let you get away with nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
It's just,
Yeah.
I would recommend this movie to literally anyone. I was saying how, to Chris, how
Same.
accessible it is. I think really, no matter who you are, maybe if this isn't your type of humour, you probably wouldn't get much out of it, but I think this is a lot of people's type of humour, and it's just really well done and very accessible, I think.
Yeah. Don't look at the cover and think it's a shit movie.
Yeah. I recommended that to someone today even. And they were like, I was like, yeah, you should watch this movie. It's a Christmas movie, a comedy Christmas movie. Took one look at the cover and went, oh, fuck that. I'm not watching that. It looks like shit. I was like, no, you don't even know, man.
Chris, any last words about this movie?
Yeah,
Before we go
it's
into the
pretty
ratings?
great. It's hilarious, well written, really well acted. I think I prefer Three Billboards, Martin McDonagh's most recent film, but this is still really great.
I haven't watched that Three Billboards. Isn't that like based on true events?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Or am I chatting shit?
That's a really good movie,
right.
though.
But let's go on to ratings then.
For sure.
So, Chris, how many out of 10 50-year-old lollipop men knowing karate, what would you give this out of?
Oh, I'll give this 9 50-year-old lollipop ladies out of 10.
This movie is a great comedy. It's very underrated, I think. I don't feel like I've heard really anyone talk about it, and it's a shame because it's very much a gem, and I'll probably watch it a million more times. I think it's amazing. This was my second time watching it, and I gave it an 8 on the first go round, and this time I think it just hit a bit more. I got a lot more out of it, and I'm going to give it 9 Chinese lollipop men that know karate out of 10.
Yeah, I'll have to agree with everything that you both just said, and I'll give it a 9.5 out of 10.
Nice.
It's probably one of the highest rated movies we've done.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has, yeah. That and the Cornetto trilogy.
Oh, damn. Yeah, true. That is very good. Right, so the final film in this trilogy was my recommendation. It's a film called Everest, starring Jake Gyllenhaal and the guy from Terminator. I don't know his name.
Yeah, whatever.
And basically it's based on true events. So it was I think a guy named Rob Hall was like one of the first people to climb Everest, then set up like a company that helps people reach the summit of Everest. So they pay him like a stupid extortionate amount of money. He trains them for like a month. Then they go and summit the go climb to the summit of Everest. And the film is basically a group of people that the majority of them end up dying whilst climbing Everest. And it's all based on true events. And unfortunately, the guy Rob Hall, who sort of organised them, was the owner of the whole thing, ends up passing away as well. And I think this film was made just to really not only put a spotlight on a sad thing that obviously happened, but obviously showed the dangers that can occur from climbing Everest itself. It's a very fucking dangerous place, and I don't think a lot of people realise that. But that's essentially the synopsis of the film. What did everyone think of it?
Oh boy.
I really didn't like it.
Fucking hell, no one liked this film.
I didn't hate it, but I didn't really like it all that much either.
Right, before we go on to you, Max, Chris, what was wrong with the film?
It's fucking boring.
Mate, people died. You're saying
Like
Rob
in the
Hall
last
dying is
10
boring?
minutes.
Yeah, what, you saying his death is boring?
Yeah, the whole film I just found super dull and boring.
If you met his fucking daughter, would you say your dad's boring?
No, I'd say the film about your dad was boring. I'm sure he was a much more interesting person in real life.
We'll never know now. Oh god. Fair enough. What about you then, Max?
I didn't really connect with it emotionally for me. I didn't really like any of the characters. I didn't really care about what was happening. I think the most I got out of it was like some technical stuff. Like it looked pretty nice at certain times. I do think it was pretty well directed, I guess. The acting was all right. You know, I just didn't really connect with it emotionally.
I will say, I will probably never watch this film again.
Mm-hmm.
I've always wanted to watch it, but what I don't understand is like actually why the film was made.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's exactly what I thought, because I thought, all right, why is this film being made? And the only reason I could come up with was that it's like mandated for a movie about Everest to be made, because it would be weird not to have a movie about Mount Everest.
Yeah.
And people
And that's
see
it.
disaster movies.
Yeah.
That's true. Fuck me. This is going to be a very short review of this movie then, isn't it? Because not really a lot happened other than it introduces you to a bunch of characters. There's two characters that are new to the climbing world or whatever, that pay Rob Hall to take them up there. And I think it's Kimiko, or I don't know what the Japanese lady's name is, but she's like a 47-year-old woman, and her and I think this film had a good message, but you really had to scrape the bottom of the barrel to find that message. And for me, that was there's two characters, Doug and this filthy 7-year-old Japanese lady. She has climbed 6 of the 7 summits of the world. She did the 7th one, but unfortunately passed away in doing so. So I think that was a testament to no matter what age you are, you can still do some very impressive things. But the one that I resonated with the most is when they're all talking about why they're doing this. And Doug says like how the school that he works at, volunteers at, paid part of the fund for him to do this. And he wanted to show the kids that he teaches that even someone as ordinary as him can do something impossible, like climb Everest. Now, the only thing that I don't like about that is he fucking dies. So it just kind of goes to show that maybe not the average person can't do the impossible. And it's just very, like, I was like, when he said that part of the film, I was like, he's going to climb Everest. He's going to show these kids that he can, like, even the most basic of people can do the most impossible things. And then he dies. And I was like, oh, so maybe you can't.
Yeah. I had that question as well. I was like, for the beginning, I was like, why the hell are these people doing this? Because me being myself, I'm not like big on heights, so you would never catch me doing this. But also, it's very treacherous and you could die. And a lot of people have died. So I just really wanted to know why these characters were doing this. And like the best that we got was, I'm doing it for the kids, man. I'm doing it for the kids so I could show them that it's not impossible. And then the rest of them had like, because I can do it, it's there. I'm like, all right,
yeah,
that's not a reason.
I can do it, so it'd be a crime not to, which I understand. But what I also didn't get about this film is that I'm gonna blame I'm gonna blame Doug, right, for a little girl growing up without a dad, because if he just fucking he got to the base of the summit around like what 2:30 or something, they're like, Rob's like, yeah, we've got to turn back now, we haven't got time, and he's like, oh, you've got to let me do it. So Rob's like, fuck it, we'll go up there, and it takes him an extra 2 hours, and because of that one decision for Doug to just be fucking stubborn, he gets them both killed. And then ultimately another climber comes up to give Rob oxygen, who ends up dying as well. You're like, fuck me. Like, and then we don't even know if he reached the summit, because they could just be saying that. Because everyone that went to the summit with Doug died.
Yeah.
Doug endangered us all. He fucked the mission.
Yeah. And it's like, how did so many, like, was this just a one-off expedition that just went horribly wrong? Like,
yeah.
How did so many people die if this has been done so many times?
Yeah, I kept thinking that as well.
I looked it up afterwards, and over it, like throughout the last 100 years or whatever, there's been like 4 or 5 like instances where it's been like very, very similar, where multiple people have died because things have just gone wrong while climbing Everest.
Yeah, maybe it was just freak conditions. Like, maybe like it's just anomaly storms that have just shown up, which do cause like the worst of the worst to happen. But again, it just begs the question of, why would you do it?
Yeah, I think that's
like
a
problem
I was going to say a problem I have is that they don't really like venture into that. Like the first hour of the film is 2 hours long. The first hour is literally just like the characters meeting up, talking, and like planning what they're going to do and stuff like that. But they don't ever delve into the why of it. And I feel like the characters would have been much more interesting to watch if they had delved into that. But I felt like just that first hour, nothing really happened at all. And that just put me in such a miserable, bored mood that even when things actually started happening, I just didn't care.
I'm really sorry, guys.
No, that's
I
fine.
thought this film would be better. It had Jake Gyllenhaal in it.
Yeah, not for long though.
Yeah, he's barely in
cameo.
it.
There are a lot of famous
He
faces.
died
in this.
anyway.
You got like Jake Gyllenhaal, Josh Brolin, the guy from Avatar, Keira Knightley.
Wait, Josh Brolin, the guy that plays Cable and Thanos?
Yeah, he's one of the main characters.
Oh, fuck, I didn't even realise that was Josh Brolin.
And he sucked.
Yeah, he weren't great. That's the guy that lost his nose and hands,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah. There's like a point
Yeah,
in this
not
movie
me.
where like everyone's
Mate,
dying.
I don't see
There's
Thanos clicking his fingers now if he's lost both his hands.
no. There's like a point in this movie where like everyone's dying, and I'm like, okay, so I'm just watching all these people die that I have no investment in, that nobody bothered to like develop as characters. And at a certain point, I'm just like, all right, what's even the point? I wasn't even like so detached from it at that point, but it was like at that point I was just like, okay, but who's even left? And then like the camera pans across the mountain, and there's like this other like single group of people who are like trying to climb down. I'm like, who the hell are any of these people?
Yeah, I didn't know who anyone was.
Does anyone actually know how Jake Gyllenhaal's character died?
No.
Or did he just like... Because to me, it just seems like he laid down and just gave up. Like, there wasn't like... It didn't say like he had an underlying health condition. He was the leader of a group, so he's a very competent and one of the best climbers. And he just like climbs up to a certain point in the mountain. He's just like, oh, fuck it, just lays down and dies. And it's like, why?
Maybe it's like Padme in Star Wars Episode 3 where he died of a broken heart.
It's because he really wanted to be like kept keeping up with them, so he got like very little sleep. And I'm like, okay, so he got like 2 hours sleep, and then he went up there and died. Like, okay, just don't care.
Maybe I should ring up work tonight. It's like, yeah, I can't come in because I've had very little sleep, and I watched a film when someone climbs Everest and died, and I don't want to be climbing a ladder and just die.
Yeah. The only character I really had any investment in, and it was a minuscule amount of investment, was the main character of Rob Hall. And I was like, okay, so he's got to save everyone, and then because he's got to get home to Keira Knightley, his wife who's pregnant, and
I wondered why I recognised her.
Oh yeah, Keira Knightley's in this movie. She's probably like the best performance in it. I really love Keira Knightley as an actor.
I thought it was someone from like Game of Thrones, but now that you're saying it, yeah, I recognise her now.
Yeah, she's like the best performance in this. I really like her. But then it's like, okay, so Rob Hall has to live. If no one else, then Rob Hall. Please give me Rob Hall. And he just dies. I was like, all right.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, Keira Knightley is good, but I felt like her accent was really bad. It just, anytime she talked...
Was she supposed to be doing an Australian accent?
Yeah, like
anytime
Kiwi,
she talked,
New Zealand.
it kept pulling me out because like she'd pronounce words really weird. I don't know whether that was just because I'm so used to hearing her speak in like a normal British accent, but it didn't seem like very realistic. It felt very off.
I don't know.
I've only ever seen her in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
Yeah. I didn't mind her. I thought she was probably the best one in there, to be honest.
Yeah. I honestly can't remember anyone's name. And before we started this segment, I had to ask Max what the characters' names were because I'd forgotten.
God.
This film was honestly when I recommended this film, I thought it was going to be better than what, because I've always wanted to watch it. It's always been like on like a bucket list of movies for me to watch, and then I did watch it, and I was like, oh,
you didn't enjoy it then?
Do you know what? If it wasn't a 2 hours long, then yeah, I would have enjoyed it. But like Chris said, the beginning hour was just padded out with stuff that didn't really need to get padded out with, and then when stuff did start happening, you were so mentally done with the film that you just didn't pay attention to it.
Yeah, it's way too long.
Yeah, that first hour, there was just like they were setting up so much and like developing so much, but I spent the whole time like, really, like there's these characters who are so like underdeveloped and uninteresting. Like surely you should be devoting time to doing that instead of doing completely other things. So it reminds me of Rise of Skywalker, how throughout that whole film they spend so much time developing new characters that they introduce for no reason, rather than developing characters who needed developing.
Yeah.
I'll say this, and I'll say this for like the second time on this podcast, and I'll say it every time it's brought up, but Star Wars episodes 7, 8 and 9 are shit.
One day we'll talk about them.
Fucking hate J.J. Abrams.
We'll get around to it at some point. Yeah. Honestly, like, what else is there to talk about with this movie? I don't even know.
The effects are good.
Yeah, I guess.
It's competently directed.
Yeah.
The biggest problem just probably lies in like the script.
What do you think about the writing? Oh, yeah, never mind then.
Yeah,
just
that's
said
the biggest
the writing was shit. There's like a point where they call Josh Brolin's character, who was called Beck. They call him Mike. They literally change his name.
What?
Yeah.
Do they?
Yeah. I like rewinded it. I reversed it. Maybe. I don't know. I reversed it and I was like, why did they call him Mike? His name was Beck.
Yeah, it may just be the actors slipping.
Wait,
and then the director didn't fix it.
Yeah.
What part did they call him Mike?
It was like right at the end or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but the thing is, if the actors like slipped, his real name's not even fucking Mike, it's Josh.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
So they've not only forgot his character's name, they've forgotten his actual name.
I didn't like Josh Brolin in this either. I thought like his character was like so wooden and boring, and then like he's got to get home to his wife who doesn't love him anymore, but then like he gets his nose cut off.
She does now.
Yeah, he gets his nose cut off and now she loves him again. Oh, brilliant.
Well, he's got no hands either.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe it's out of pity.
That's gonna be the most awkward foreplay if ever they bang again.
I have to stay with him. I give him a hand job. How's he gonna wank?
Just to take the piss, she'll just use her feet.
Or her elbows.
Just uses his little stumps. Do you know what? When I was watching this movie and I was thinking about the podcast that we're going to be doing on it, I didn't think that we'd ever be talking about him wanking himself off with his stumps.
You see where these conversations take us, eh?
By the way, we mean no offense to any of these people.
Yeah, just be better.
But like Chris said, it's just British humour. We obviously aren't happy that the guy lost both his hands, but he has, and you've got to make light of the situation.
I'm not sad about it either.
We'll have a bit of fucking compassion, Max.
Well, sure, like
He is a
basic.
man.
Yeah, I had the basic human empathy for these characters, and I am talking about the characters themselves. But it's like, how far can that extend before it's just like, yeah, whatever. I don't even care anymore.
All right, so basically what Max just said is if people...
No, carry on.
Go on, Chris.
I was going to say, I'm sure in real life this is more interesting than the film.
Yeah, that's why they made it, because it was an interesting story that they butchered.
Yeah, they really didn't do it well. So, should we go to the ratings?
Yeah. God damn it.
Chris, out of 10 Everest, what would you choose?
Oh, I thought you were going to say out of 10 stumps.
We'll go with out of 10 stump jobs.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, I had the least amount of enjoyment out of any film this week. I just was so bored and uninterested. I didn't care about anything. And I think a big part of that is because the first hour is so slow that it just... anything they do after that is just soured the experience. I'm going to give it 3 stump jobs out of 10. I definitely disliked it the most out of everyone.
Seems
Max,
to be.
can we clip that so we've just got a voice clip of Chris going, I'll give it 3 stump jobs.
Yeah. I'll give 3 stump jobs.
Yeah. I think I liked this movie a little bit more than Chris, but I still didn't really enjoy it that much. I did like the like a few of the technical elements. I thought it looked good. I thought the mountain looked good. Obviously, they're not actually scaling Everest in this, otherwise they'd die.
I thought the mountain looked good.
Yeah,
whoever
you know,
did the costume design for the mountain is definitely getting an award.
I'm just trying to give it as much compliments as possible, you know. I want to give credit where credit is due.
What's the mountain look like? Snow and ice, and it's really fucking big.
Dark clouds looked alright. They were pretty nice. Like the clouds. Yeah. I just didn't really gel with it, to be honest. Like, no emotion to it at all. I didn't really care. Keira Knightley was good, and I had like a slight bit of investment in Rob Hall. Not that that really paid off. Thanks a lot. I'm going to give this 5 stump jobs out of 10.
Yeah, no, I wasn't a really big fan of this movie, in all fairness. So I'll give it 4.25 stump jobs out of 10.
Nice.
Yeah.
Damn.
It weren't,
Here I am.
Great.
And now I'm the one who likes it the most, I guess. Now
Yeah.
we've got our scores. We can
Right,
really
so
argue who likes it.
Max, you've now got to get the Blu-ray DVD collector's version of it.
I actually came across the Blu-ray in CEX the other day, and I thought, no, I'll just watch it on Netflix.
Was it 50p?
It's £2.
If it is,
It's too much.
I was going to say, if it's 50p, I'm definitely choosing that for our 50p marathon next.
They don't do 50p things anymore, though.
No, not
Say
in
again,
CEX.
Max.
They don't do 50p DVDs in CEX anymore. They've upped it. It's £1 now.
What are we going to do for the 50p marathon now, then? It's going to have to be
they
a quid,
shot us
isn't
down.
it?
Yeah, £1 marathon now.
Do you know what? We'll keep the name at 50p, but we'll just obviously have to buy stuff for a quid.
Shame.
That's bullshit.
They fucked us.
Doubling their prices.
Horrendous. Capitalism at work.
Fuck me. Mate, for the longest part of this podcast, I was trying not to swear, and then we started talking about In Bruges, and someone just started saying the word cunt over and over again.
There's a lot of swear words in that movie, yeah.
Max's mum is definitely not going to enjoy this episode. Sorry, Susan.
She's not called Susan. But yeah, I don't think she would.
She is now.
God damn it. All right.
Oh my God! Wait, on Instagram the other day when Max put up a picture of the Sunday Movie Marathon podcast, or it was a picture of me, Chris, and Max, and Max's mum commented on it saying Connor and Max ? And I was like, yeah, that's me and Connor and Chris ?
Connor and Chris.
I was gonna comment back like, yeah, we exist. She just thought Max was lying this whole time. He doesn't have mates.
It's just Max doing those different voices.
Well, we're not talking to his mum, are we?
All right. Enough of that, my mum. Let's get on to the next recommendations, shall we?
I haven't. I'll be honest with you now. I haven't thought of
God.
one because I didn't realise it was Christmas related. So if you guys talk amongst yourself and recommend yours quick, I'll just quickly find
Pull one up. Yeah. All right. Cool. So, Chris, do you want to? Yeah.
Yeah. So next episode will be out on the 20th. So a few days before Christmas. So we decided to do a Christmas episode. I'm going to pick a film that I haven't seen before, but I've wanted to see for a long time because the director's pretty decent. It's got a good cast. I'm going to pick the 2005 film Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, directed by Shane Black, starring Robert Downey Jr. and Val Kilmer.
Oh, that's the guy that
nice.
directed Iron Man 3 as well, isn't it?
Yeah, he also did The Nice
Shane
Guys and The Predator, the most recent Predator film.
Yeah, he was in the first Predator, wasn't he?
Yeah, and he wrote
Was he?
the first 3 or 4 Lethal Weapon films as well.
Yeah.
Right, I've got my my holiday movie. If you want me to tell you it quick.
I'll do mine and then you can do yours. Yeah.
Okay.
So, my recommendation is one that I've wanted to see for a little bit. I don't think any of us have seen it. It's a horror slasher movie from 1974, directed by...
fuck's sake!
Yeah, I know you hate movies that predate the 2000s, but I mean...
Just pick
you
all the
know,
boring
it's-
ones.
You don't know that. You don't know that yet. Okay?
It's a horror film.
Oh
You
my
could
god, I have
interact
such a
really
problem
fun.
with this. Yeah, it might
You've
be
got a-
great. We don't know.
You've got a track record for it so far, Max.
Yeah, because, you know, when you're recommending movies and most of the movies that have been released so far are before the 21st century, you're going to be picking some movies that are before the 21st century. Okay? Honestly. Now, I'll get back onto my fucking recommendation, shall I? Without goddamn interruptions. Jesus Christ. So my recommendation is a 1974 movie by
Fuck.
director Bob Clark, and it's called Black Christmas.
Oh shit! There's a remake of this was made recently as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, there's 2
Yeah.
remakes of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I know
Yeah,
this movie
yeah,
actually
there
looks
are.
good.
Oh, well, there we go. How about that?
But
Don't count your
remake
chickens
of
by what
it.
they hatch.
I don't know about your original, Max.
Well, we'll see. I've ordered the Blu-ray, so I think we can rent it on Amazon as well.
Yeah, Bob Clark also did a film like a decade later called A Christmas Story, which is like the complete opposite. It's like a super wholesome, fun family comedy.
Oh, nice.
Right. So I've got 2 options, and you guys can choose which one you want. So the first one is called Holiday Rush. Oh no, hold up. No, we'll do Bad Mum's Christmas.
Bad Mum's Christmas. Is that
Yeah.
Mom?
And that's
Bad Mum's
a
Christmas?
sequel, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not going to
So
watch
just-
what preceded it. Oh God. Okay.
All right. It's not, all right. So you have two options here. If you don't want it to be a sequel, you've got two options, right? You've got Holiday Rush, which is about a black family celebrating Christmas, or you've got Poppy Star Christmas, when a gang of mischievous dogs hijack Santa Claus,
Ah,
and then all four is up to the brave puppies to save Christmas.
I picked that one.
Say that sounds
Yeah.
shit.
Well, you say that, but it's got a better score in general over that other one that you just suggested. Not
What, Holiday Rush?
No, Bad Mum's Christmas.
Oh yeah, fair enough. So
Yeah.
Puppy Star Christmas it is then.
Okay, great. So if
I
you
have
don't want
literally
to,
just googled the 42 best holiday films on Netflix, and they all look shit.
yeah, Netflix have a lot of bad Christmas movies, unfortunately.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
a musical as
Honestly,
well.
if
Oh yes,
oh my god,
nice, brilliant. Just like that Oz movie, Return to Oz.
what?
Okay, brilliant. So
Honestly, if there were decent movies to choose from, then I would
There
choose
are.
it. I'll have a look on Amazon as well, just in case, because like I don't like Christmas and I hate everything about Christmas, or I hate Christmas movies.
oh,
I
brilliant.
don't really
All
pay
right.
attention to what they are.
Okay. Well, there we have it. Our three movies: Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, Black Christmas, and Puppy Star Christmas.
When
gonna
you
be
said
a-
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, I thought you meant Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
No, God, no. Never recommend that movie. Jesus Christ, it's like 3 hours long. I just
Haven't they got like
it's
Mary
so good.
Poppins in it or something?
Yeah.
No.
Well, it's got the actress
Oh
who
right,
plays her.
yeah.
Oh,
The actor
It's not like
counts as
literally Mary
crossover.
Poppins comes into it.
The crossover event that predates Endgame.
Yeah. Okay. Well, on that note, I think we better end this here. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and we will see you next week for our Christmas movie marathon. Bye-bye.
Ho, ho, ho.